Hey, welcome back everybody to day 2 of the Gladiator suspension lift. So on day 1 we got the front end all done. So we've got the 3.5-inch Teraflex lift springs in. We also installed the Teraflex speed bumps, the Falcon shocks, and the core 4x4 upper and lower control arms and track bar. So the front end is set now other than an alignment. So we'll get going on this. If you're enjoying the videos, please remember to like and subscribe. Also hit that bell notification so you can be notified when the next videos come out. So thanks for tuning in. We're gonna get started on this lift here now. Alright, so we got the wheels and tires off. We got the sway bar end links disconnected on both sides. Disconnected the brake line bracket. Remove the rear track bar. The instructions say just to pull it off of the axle side, but we are going to be replacing the track bar, so might as well just, pull the whole thing. So I pulled that, loosened up all the control arms, and removed the shocks. So I'm going to check couple of these connections back here, make sure there's nothing we need to pull apart to get enough droop out of this thing, but then we're ready to drop it down and pull the springs out. Once we get the springs and everything out, I think we'll start working on replacing the control arms, get the new control arms in, and then start going back together with the new 3.5-inch lift springs. Alright, so we get the rear springs out. I'm going to start working on the control arms. I'm going to start working on getting those replaced here before I put the new springs in. But to give you an idea, here is the factory spring, and here is the Teraflex spring that is going in. So as you can see, quite a bit longer. Obviously on the bottom end, looks very, very similar as far as the way the coils are. But as we get up, it definitely starts to wind tighter and tighter. So these are triple rate rear springs. The fronts are dual rate. So really hoping that this is going to solve the issue that I have with the back being really kind of floaty over bumps, especially when cornering. So we're going to go ahead and start working on the control arms, get those in, and start putting this thing back together. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the rear track bar relocation bracket onto the rear axle. So it will go right in here. So we'll get started on that here. Alright, so we got the new control arms in, the new track bar in, track bar relocation bracket. All that is tight except for the bolt for the actual track bar. So next thing is to actually put the springs in. So that took a lot of work, but both springs are in. Now we can move on to the next step, which I believe, yep, installing the shocks. So we'll get going on that next. Alright, so wheels and tires are on, it's on the ground. Everything's looking good. I may need to do some work with the track bar. It does seem, right now I'm half an inch further out on this side than the passenger side, so gonna need to mess with that. Unfortunately, the adjustable track bar is fully closed right now, so I can't shorten it anymore, which is what needs to happen in order to shift the axle to the passenger side. Now I do have it mounted currently in the upper hole, so I'm thinking if I drop it down to the lower hole, that might get me what I need to be able to shift that axle over just a little bit. So I'll mess with that a little bit more later. But right now I'm just glad to have everything installed. I can fine-tune a little bit here and there later, but pretty pleased with the way she's sitting now. So obviously it'll settle a little bit, so I'm not going to make a measurement now. I'm going to get a little bit of time on it, get everything straightened out, and then I'll measure it out and see where we were at. We were at 40 inches to the fender line when I measured it before the lift. So we'll see where we are once everything settles in. So that is it for the lift, the Teraflex 3.5 inch lift, the Falcon adjustable shocks, and the Core 4x4 adjustable control arms and track rods. Just got to get it aligned, center that axle, rear axle up a little bit better if I can, get it aligned, and we're all set. So thanks for tuning in. There's still a lot more work to be done on the Gladiator, so we will be getting going on that next. So stay tuned, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell for the next videos. Thanks for tuning in.